focused on the individual, this podcast aims to shine a light on the remarkable spirit of humanity. We're dedicated to bringing you the inspiring conversations with exceptional organizations and individuals devoted to creating a better world. Welcome to the Lighthouse Keepers Podcast.
The whales exerting the same amount of energy and coming up with only a quarter of the amount of fish because there's so few fish. They're taking 270 million pounds. And it's all because of Virginia, and it's nothing we can do here in New York.
The slaughter that was taking place in the 70s and 80s of whales and dolphins and the tuna, it was devastating. Every time I think of that song, which is why a new core memory comes in when I find your photos. They're back.
I asked Mother Nature just to bring to me what it is you want me to share with the world.
You've created an art form that's turned into advocacy, that's turned into a whole group of us who are like, it is magic. Welcome back to the Lighthouse Keepers Podcast. I'm your host, Mary Ellen Sherlock. Super excited today to introduce you to an idol and somebody that I am totally fangirling on. Please welcome Joanna Steidle. Joanna is the International Aerial Photographer of 2025. You heard me right, international. Joanna, thank you so much for being here with me. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you and meet you, but more importantly, everything that you do, you have won over 30 international awards, international, countrywide, for your photography, for your drone photography. And you've done so much to teach me about drones and how you got into this. So that's where we're going to start out. And then we're going to get to the sweet spot of why Mary Ellen is completely obsessed with Joanna, in a not creepy way. So when I met you, you talked to me about that you became interested in drones because you shared special moments with your grandfather when he used to do the airplanes, the
model aircrafts.
Model aircrafts.
Yeah.
When you were younger, yeah. And it was just such a wonderful time that you shared with him. But then you got involved in drones much later in life. How did that come about?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Mary Ellen, it's a thrill to be here. I really appreciate it. Well, the drones came into play, and yeah, my father built major, big model aircrafts, and he used to always fly them. And I heard stories about my father having to go find them. You know, my grandfather flew them in the backyard, and he'd send the kids go find it. And there were always these big rigs, and it just was really exciting to watch. And all I ever really did back then was watch. But when drones first started to come about, the commercial drones that were easy to purchase, just you didn't have to build them yourself.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So people really started attaching cameras to model aircrafts. So that's how it all began.
That's the progression.
So, but really, I wanted to race FPV. So there's something called drone racing. And they fly smaller drones.
Brand new to me, folks. No idea.
So we fly smaller drones like this, and you build them yourself. So when I first learned, I learned how to build the drone, how to fly the drone manually, with no automation. Like all these are automated now. I'd love to race. I wanted to be a race car driver when I was younger.
Kidding.
I did.
What I'm saying.
I used to ski really fast, and anything that was fast. I really loved it, and I really thought that the drone racing was going to take off. And so that's why I actually started flying.
So that was the impetus. That's kind of what got you started out. The need for speed.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a way that I can get that thrill without risking myself, my health and wellness anymore.
Yes, a drone here or there, that could be the casualty. Yeah. I need to stay in town.
Yes.
And so what I've understand is through this technology, which I didn't know anything about, and I'm going to just state here to the listeners and our viewers, I did not know that you needed a pilot's license to actually use a drone. Your girl here probably would have went out and tried to do it on her own, but...
Well, you need to be, you can get a recreational certificate just to fly, which is about a 10-minute course with the FAA. It's free. You can't fail it. So really, anybody can get that certificate to fly
That's a little
recreationally.
dangerous, I'm just saying.
Yeah. In order to sell your work commercially,
I see.
in order for it to be used for any kind of commercial purposes, even on a business Facebook page, you need to have a Part 107 remote license. Yes.
Right. So I was mentioning, you see them now, like in like real estate people when they sell houses.
Yeah. You have to have it.
You have to have
And you have to renew it every 2 years because the laws, I mean, I've had one since 2017. I was the first woman certified in Long Island back then. The test only came out in 2016, so I kind of waited to see what the questions were like before I took the test. I know one woman who took it the first day and passed, and I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
Tell me what the questions are like.
Wow.
And
So can I ask you? So when you got your drone, and you said, I wanted to do the racing, were you really like, this became more than a hobby? This became...
I loved it. And I wasn't involved in photography at all. The problem with the racing is that the nearest course was up in Coram, and the nearest competitions were over in Jersey or Connecticut. They were just way too far. There was no way that I was going to drive 3 miles to race for 10 minutes. 3 hours. And then race 10 minutes and 3 hours home.
Right.
It just wasn't going to be realistic. And it didn't take off like I thought it was.
Right.
I mean, they had the Drone Racing League, which was doing races in Dubai and all over the world and building these big tracks. And I wanted to build a track and do all this. And it just wasn't going to work. So basically, I love drones. I knew that this was one of the biggest growing niches in the country, besides marijuana. They said drones and marijuana were the top.
I like your angle.
Yeah. I said, well, definitely not going to go down to marijuana. We'll go this way. So I had to really figure out what was going to best suit me. And I got into the legalities, because there's lots of laws, lots of regulations. The FAA makes a lot of changes. Then we have small towns, counties, and states that all introduce their own laws and legalities. So if I go to Massachusetts to fly, I've got to look up the county, the state laws, the town laws, any kind of park laws or regulations. That came of an interest to me. But too much reading, not enough flying.
Not enough fun.
Yeah, I want to fly.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to fly. And, years down the road, I had been taking some photos. I had taken this one photo of the Montauk Lighthouse, I just have to say, 18 or so, where I flew right up to the lantern room. So I got a close-up lantern room, the sunrise behind it with a trawler in the distance. And it was something that nobody had ever seen before. And I know people went a little crazy about it online. And I was like, I was so excited that I stopped to look at it on the way home. I couldn't even get home before I looked at the photo, and I sat there saying, this is it. I could just feel it in every cell of my body that I had to go down to the photography. This photography was the route I had to take.
Isn't that so, it's a life-changing moment where something just comes over you like, apparently this is what I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
This is what I'm meant to do.
It was it. And then, I knew nothing. So I had to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning every day. Every day, every year I go through, what skills do I need this year? What do I need to focus on? And so the past 2 years, I've been a little more focused on the video side.
Right.
Because I'm selling a lot of clips.
So you were kind enough to bring this here to show this to our viewers.
So this is...
this looks very this is the real deal.
This is one of the best consumer drones. It's not one of the big rigs that they use for major productions. Those are really big. I've flown those too. They're fun. So we have all kinds of sensors. So if you get too close to something, it'll stop.
No way.
And here's my camera.
Oh, God bless.
So this camera's got 3 lenses. We have a wide angle, the regular, and a zoom lens. And now this camera spins this way too. So basically, this, and
Should I hold this for you?
Yeah, we
I'm
can put it
afraid to
right here
touch
for a
it.
minute.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yep, don't touch the expensive equipment, Mary Ellen.
It's okay. I've got a backup. I got insurance. I am very careful with it now. We've got a little beep here. Sorry about that. So what happens is on the controller here, you'll see what the camera sees.
No kidding.
Yeah. So and I use these sticks underneath here.
Almost like
That's how I fly with the sticks. These
No
sticks.
kidding.
So up, down, sideways, spin, and whatever. So
you shared with me once, Joanna, like I asked her this question. Have you ever lost a drone?
Oh, I've lost plenty of them.
Plenty of them. Oh, God.
When I first started, yeah.
That's a sad thing, right?
Well, I had one or two flyaways where the drone just kind of flew away on the older drones. I was doing one shoot at the sunflower fields. I was like, the sunflowers, when they grow, they kind of tilt a little bit.
Yes.
So from the air, it doesn't look as good. You have to get down low. So I'm flying, and I got these, people with their hats on in the field. And I'm flying sideways, and I wasn't watching the drone. It landed into a tree, and it was 80 feet.
Shattered a million pieces.
Well, it was 80 feet up, and the tree was covered with poison ivy, so...
You left it there. Love and
That
light.
was it, yeah. Well, I spoke to the property owners, because I don't want to
Sorry
leave.
about that.
Well, it's a lithium battery, too.
Oh,
you don't
okay.
want to, if possible, you don't want to leave that out in nature.
Got it.
So we want to be...
So the reason why I found you, Joanna, is because you have a YouTube, an Instagram account out here. So Joanna is mostly focused out here in the East End of Long Island. And I found you a few years ago, and you started posting pictures of whales and dolphins and tuna and rays. And it was magical to me, absolutely magical. Just to know that they're here. And then I want to just share with our Lighthouse Keeper people. So I also have the privilege of being out here, and it was during COVID, right after COVID. Mm-hmm. We were down at the beach, and we were sitting there. And sometimes when you see boats that are still in the water, they just stop. They're obviously looking at something, so that's a good clue. I don't think they ran out of gas. And you keep your eye on the horizon, and you're looking for the spout or the fin or a tail. And sure enough, I probably say we've seen a half dozen whales just sitting on the beach. And it is life-changing when you see it that close. When our kids were little, years ago, my husband and I took our kids on a whale watch out of Nantucket. And I was very excited. The kids were excited, And you see these whales and the bubble net, and they come up, and then the fins. And I remember just literally takes your breath away. Mm-hmm. I think in my head, both Jerry and I were thinking, we need a bigger boat. A total Roy Schneider thing there from Jaws, but I think we're going to need a boat. But it was magical. And I remember when we were taking the boat back, I just remember saying to the kids, they were so gentle. They never hurt us. The gentle giants.
Yes.
So for you to reinvigorate that, to me, it brings back an older story. When in the 1975, there was a song by Crosby, Stills, Nash. I don't know if everybody heard it. And it's this music starts off with critical mass, and then it's Wind on the Water. And I love this song. I love Crosby, Stills, Nash.
Yeah,
1980, they came out and they redid it. But in 1988, they actually played at Jones Beach Theater. Jones Beach, the music venue there. And when they played this song, they had the video of the whale slaughtering. And as much as the beautiful song was, Wind on the Water, the visual of what was happening, the slaughter that was taking place in the 70s and 80s of whales and dolphins and the tuna, it was devastating. It was such an impactful moment to me that every time I think of that song, which is why a new core memory comes in when I find your photos. They're back. And that's some of the titles. They're back. The whales are back. The whales are back. And why the work that you've done not only has meant so much to me in terms of the talent that you have for the photography, but all that has led to for your advocacy. You know, your art has turned it into an opportunity for other people to do their part for the marine life out here. And so I wanted to just talk, if you could tell, you know, the viewers and listeners how it has impacted your life. While you love photography and you love drones, it has also shifted a whole nother life that you didn't know you knew. They're your friends. This is your family.
Well, thank you for sharing the story, because, you know, it just means that I'm doing what I was meant to do.
Yes.
Because, you know, we want to make the world a better place.
Yes.
I mean, it really just comes down to that.
Yes.
And if my imagery can, like, cheer someone up or, you know, excite them or get them moving to make a donation to help save these menhaden right now, what I've witnessed, because I've been doing it I've been flying over the ocean since 2016. Mm-hmm. We started seeing the cameras on the drones back then weren't that great, so I'm not really happy to share any of that. But I do have part of that as the story. It really was 2020, 21, 22, and 23, where it was bursting out here. I mean, we had the baitfish. Now, menhaden, also known as bunker, are the baitfish. They're the keystone species. That's what everything feeds on. And that's why the whales started coming back in, because the coast was just lined, massive schools. I don't know if you remember, we had shark bites up the island. There was 13 shark bites in 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's because there was so much baitfish. Mm-hmm. And the sharks come in and the dolphins come in and all that. So what I've seen is, because I'm only doing a visual documentation, it doesn't really have any real scientific meaning to it. All I can say is what I saw and what I didn't see.
Physical evidence.
And we have had a massive decline in the past 2 years. I don't know if you noticed, hardly any whales. No. Hardly any whales and dolphins. A little more dolphins are okay, but yeah, we had those couple of years where it just was unbelievably booming. I could just go to the beach and sit there all day and fly and be entertained, you know, with the fish. But now I have to go to Montauk and go to 12 different beaches and keep searching and searching. And I'll go, you know, 7 to 10 days in the middle of summer without spotting anything from Montauk to Southampton. But what you have to keep in mind is, just because I don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Mm-hmm. Other people aren't seeing it. But I know that feeling, that very first whale that I saw.
Tell us about that.
I was at Crider Beach, right in Southampton Village.
You can name it just like that.
Oh my gosh. I was in Crider Beach, right outside the village, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, it's happening. It's happening. And still to this day, that very first clip is one of my favorites.
Of course it is.
Because it was such a mass. The school of fish were so tight that when the humpback whale came up to lunge feed, they opened their mouths and they come through the surface, and there was just fish jumping everywhere.
Yes.
And yeah, it was so packed. That whale got a huge mouthful. Yeah. And now what I'm seeing is the whales exerting the same amount of energy and coming up with only a quarter of the amount of fish, because there's so few fish. Yeah. So the conservation efforts really stem out of Virginia. New York and all of New England has put in place a lot of limitations on the catch limits. So these forage fish, the menhaden, they reproduce in Chesapeake Bay. Chesapeake Bay is like their winter home, and but Virginia has opened it up to Canadian company. They're taking 270 million pounds of menhaden out this year. They're permitted to. Oh, and it's all because of Virginia, and it's nothing we can do here in New York.
But that's the starting ground, that's the feeding.
Yeah. Yep. And so if they take them out, and there's commercial boats all up into from there, Chesapeake to New York City, and they can be off 3 miles. I mean, just massive boats just sucking them out. And they use them for pet food, vitamins, oils, and stuff like that.
So you've become part of some of the advocacy to help tell the story.
I do. I've been working really hard and long, and mind you, this has to be done on like my free time because I still have to focus on just making a living at this.
Right.
Is extremely difficult.
Yes.
I mean,
time consuming.
It's only a few of us in the whole United States that I know fly full time and make a living at it.
Yes.
So it's, so there's all this balance, but I've been able to get involved with, people that, have a greater platform and a greater voice, and we're building the story. And this year we hope to get down to the Chesapeake so I can complete more parts of the story, because what they're doing affects the entire New England coast. Right? People are upset. The fishermen are like, where's all the striped bass? Well, there's no menhaden for them to feed on, so they're not coming in. Right? The fishermen.
So when you think about, these are, I think when you do your photographs, I feel joy looking at it. I can only imagine you seeing it and filming it.
It's so exciting. Oh my gosh. So I'll tell you one about the dolphins. So I've been trying to get a good dolphin shot for years.
Yeah.
And whether it be the shutter speed or the lighting isn't right, or, all this back and forth. And, it's just like, okay, well, maybe one day it'll happen. And last year, I think it was my 5th day of flying Montauk to Southampton, all day, seeing absolutely nothing. And I said, and I really do a whole spiritual thing before I even take. It's like I pet the drone.
That's the other part of the obsession with Joanna.
I talk to the drone. I'm like, you're gonna be good to me. I ask Mother Nature just to, take me to where bring to me what it is you want me to share with the world.
Yes.
Help take me there.
Yes.
And I really strongly believe that there's a connection.
Absolutely.
And I will talk to the animals through my screen, like, can you come out of the air bubbles? Oh, just come up a little further. And I'll talk to them.
Yes.
But this one day, it was like 4:30. I'm in the village here in Southampton, and nothing. I said, the conditions are so perfect. It was dead calm. The water was clear. I mean, you just don't get that, and it's
nothing. You're getting skunked right there. Like, I just need, give me a fin, give me something.
And I said, okay, one more beach, one more time. And just something came over me, just one more. And I took the drone out, and there was this pod of 20 dolphins. And for some reason, I was attracted to this mother and calf. I try to, look at everything from a distance and observe from a distance so I can get a bigger story, the bigger story of the whole pod, but then this intricate details between this mother and calf.
The vulnerability of this.
Right. Yeah. So now, just to let you know too, we have all kinds of regulations when it comes to whales, dolphins, seals, any kind of mammals. You have to comply with the same as a boat in terms of recommended distances, because the vibration from the props and the noise can, or so they believe, can affect them, and deter them or whatnot. So I do fly under a mammal permit, which allows me to get within 40, significantly closer. So in order to do that, this mother and this calf I found that they were under the water, and then they came up splashing, and the mother was guiding him with the pectoral fin. And I tell you what, that mother,
it's chills.
The mother, and I knew it was the mother because sometimes, aunts and uncles will watch the babies too. But the calf was feeding at certain times. So I knew it was the mother, and she didn't take her eye off that baby. She had her head turned like this with the eye on the baby all the time. It was just like...
When you really see that in nature, I tell you, you want to go through Herculean efforts to preserve that for them. That's just as you would with any other mother and child.
Yeah, and I think it really, and I have 2 young men that are my sons, and just reminded me of them.
That was a bonding.
It just really emotionally.
It goes full circle.
Oh, it was very emotional, and literally only had about a minute and a half with them before they got out of sight. Sure. So you have to move that drone, you have to figure out the best angle. Yeah. And the way the angles came, the babies, the calf's shadow, I had the light, the surface glare, just a little bit on them. The baby's shadow was on the mother's womb, where it once resided, or that forever place in the heart. And it was just like, yeah, that was probably the most meaningful series.
I was just
It's
gonna
called
say,
the Motherhood Series.
And please, when we, everybody here is going to just, I mean, the pictures that you take are just, they are breathtaking. I mean, they literally take your breath away.
Thank you.
My eyes are filling up with tears right now just thinking
mine
about
too.
it. I know.
A lot of it's in the edit, though, I have to tell you. I mean, lots of people go out there and take photos. They don't look anything like mine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's the reason why you've won so many awards. You've been in National Geographic, the BBC, the Smithsonian. It's not, from a passion for drones, you've created an art form that's turned into advocacy, that's turned into a whole group of us who are like, it is magic.
Watching,
It feels so grounded. You feel like a protectiveness to take care of these, these animals, and they have the right to live here and grow and feed and have a wonderful life. And the awareness that you've brought to this community, specifically to me. I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us at the Lighthouse Keepers Podcast. You are such a beacon, really a beacon of light for those who cannot,
thank you for watching.
Themselves.
Thank you for, I appreciate all the support. It's